I still remember the sound of the handcuffs clicking shut. Cold. Final. Like a gunshot to the soul. It was supposed to be the best day of my life. Instead, I was face down on the pavement. Cops yelling. People watching. And her. She was in a white dress. Standing on the courthouse steps. Holding my best friend's hand. The moment they shoved me into the back of that police cruiser, she looked me dead in the eye, and smiled. Not a sad smile. Not a shocked one. It was smug. Satisfied. Like she'd won. I couldn't breathe. My heart was pounding like a war drum. My wrists burned from the cuffs, but nothing hurt more than seeing her there. In his arms. Wearing my mother's heirloom necklace. The same one I gave her on our anniversary. That moment. That was when everything in me snapped. Everything we'd built, gone. Everything I believed, shattered. I wasn't thinking about innocence. Or guilt. I was thinking one thing. I will make them pay. You think betrayal hurts? Try being buried alive by people you trusted with your heartbeat. But if you really want to understand how I ended up there. In cuffs, betrayed, and broken. Then we have to go back. Back to where it all started. Before the lies. Before the wedding. Before the jail cell. Back, to the very first time I saw her. Before everything burned. Before the cold metal of handcuffs and the fake vows. There was just a girl in red heels. And me. Sitting in a booth at a bar I didn't even want to be in that night. Her name was Tina. And she didn't just walk in, she entered. Like the kind of person who knows the air shifts when they move. Eyes followed her. Music seemed to dip just slightly when she passed the DJ booth. She had that kind of power. I was there with Liam, my best friend since high school. We were grabbing wings after a long shift. I had grease on my jeans, engine oil under my nails. Nothing about me screamed, catch of the day. But she looked right at me. Not at Liam. Not at the other guys. Me. She walked over like she already knew something I didn't. You look like you hate this place, she said, smiling like she knew I'd agree. I do, I replied. She laughed. That laugh. It was the first thing I ever trusted about her. The first of many mistakes. We talked for 2 hours straight. Liam disappeared into the crowd, probably assuming she was just flirting and I'd strike out, like always. But she didn't walk away. She sat there, sipping from her drink, asking me questions no one else ever asked. What do you want in 10 years? What would you do if nobody was watching? Have you ever been in love before? And then she leaned in and said, You're different. God help me. I believed her. The weeks after that night moved fast. Phone calls. Late night drives. She came to my job. Brought me coffee. Memorized how I took it. She was intense. Unpredictable. Addictive. And somehow, I thought I was the lucky one. Everyone said we were moving too fast. Liam joked about it. My sister called her dangerous fun. But I told myself, they just don't know her like I do. Funny how the people around you can see the hurricane before it hits. And you're too busy watching the waves. But this story isn't just about her. It's about him too. Liam. Because while I was falling deeper, he was watching from the shadows. Waiting. For what, I didn't know yet. But soon. I'd find out. And I would wish I never had. The first 6 months with Tina felt like driving 100 miles an hour with no brakes. Thrilling. Reckless. Stupid. She moved in after just 2 months. One night she showed up with a duffel bag and said, My roommate's a creep. I'm done. I want to be with you. And that was it. She folded herself into my world like she'd always belonged. She started decorating my place. Little things at first, pillows, a mirror, candles that smelled like vanilla and firewood. Then bigger things. Rearranging the kitchen, suggesting I sell my old couch. It's about us now, she said. And I liked the sound of that. But with Tina, love wasn't just warm. It was intense. Suffocating, if I'm being honest. She'd text me non-stop. Call if I didn't answer in 5 minutes. Ask who I was with, what I was doing, who Rachel from work was and why she liked my Instagram post. She wrapped her arms around me like armor. And I mistook it for affection. She made me feel needed. Wanted. Chosen. But every good moment had a price tag. If I forgot to call her back. Silent treatment. If I made plans with Liam without asking her. A fight. She once cried, sobbed, because I forgot it was our 6-month and 2-day anniversary. I should have seen the signs. But I was too deep. Liam noticed though. Bro, she's kind of intense, don't you think? I brushed it off. You just don't know her like I do. He gave me a weird look. Something between concern and something else. Just be careful, man, he said. I thought he was being protective. Looking out for me. I didn't realize it was guilt. Because what I didn't know. What I couldn't have imagined. Was that Liam wasn't just watching things unravel. He was helping it happen. It started with the way she looked at Liam. Not like she wanted him, no, she never made it that obvious. It was more like, she waited for his reaction. Like she wanted him to see how much she was wrapped around me. Like his opinion of our love mattered. She'd lean into me at parties when he walked by. Laugh a little louder when he was around. Grab my hand and say, God, I'm so lucky. While staring directly into his eyes. I thought it was nothing. Just weird social energy. But then I started noticing Liam. The way he lingered near her when she talked. How he always seemed to know her schedule. And how he'd make these backhanded jokes. Like the time we were at the lake with some friends, and she jumped in without warning. White shirt, freezing water, the whole scene. Liam looked at me and said, Man, you're braver than me. I couldn't handle a girl like that. She's wild. He said it with a grin. But there was something behind it. Like envy. Tina noticed it too. And suddenly, her jealousy kicked into a higher gear. If a girl from my office commented on a post, Tina would go full private investigator mode. Who's she? Why does she know about your weekend? She once showed up at my job, unannounced. Handed me lunch in front of everyone. And whispered. Just reminding the girls you're taken. I laughed it off. My co-workers didn't. And the worst part? Liam started acting like he was the victim. He'd complain about being the third wheel. Say things like, You don't hang out anymore, bro, ever since she came around. But here's the catch. Tina was the one texting him. I saw the messages one night, her phone lit up while she was in the shower. You were quiet today. Everything okay? We should hang out, just us. Like old times. Don't tell him I messaged you. He's been weird lately. My stomach dropped. I didn't know who I was more angry at. Her, for reaching out to my best friend behind my back. Or him, for not telling me. But I didn't confront them. Not yet. Instead, I started watching. Paying attention. Recording the little things. Because part of me didn't want to believe it. But the other part. The one that had started feeling cold. That part knew the truth was coming. And it was going to ruin everything. You ever look back at a moment and know it was the fork in the road? Like, if I had done something then, maybe none of this would have happened. This was that moment. It was a Saturday. I was supposed to meet Tina for lunch, but she cancelled last minute, said she wasn't feeling well. No big deal, I thought. But that night, Liam posted a story. Quick clip, just a second. A drink clinking on a table. A laugh in the background. Her laugh. My stomach tightened. I told myself I was being paranoid. That it wasn't proof. That maybe they were just friends. I could have asked. Could have brought it up. But instead, I let it slide. Because that's what love makes you do sometimes. Ignore your gut. Pretend the fire's not real because you can't handle the smoke. But the universe has a way of pushing when you try to look away. 2 days later, Tina came over. Wore my hoodie. Brought takeout. Acted like everything was perfect. And then, she left her phone on the counter. I swear, I wasn't snooping. It just buzzed. And my eyes just landed on the screen. Liam. Did he ask anything? You were amazing Saturday. Still thinking about it. I froze. Like time stopped. She walked out of the bathroom humming, like nothing was wrong. Smiling. Carefree. And me? I was standing there, holding her phone, heart pounding, wondering if I had just walked into a nightmare that was still pretending to be a dream. But I didn't say anything. Not yet. I slipped her phone back, forced a smile, and acted normal. Because if they thought I didn't know, then maybe, just maybe, I could find out how deep it went. And so began the silence. The pretending. The mask. She thought I was still in love. He thought I was still clueless. But me? I was watching. Listening. Waiting. Because now it wasn't just about heartbreak. It was about betrayal. And soon, it would be about payback. Once I knew, I started seeing everything differently. The way she talked about him. Too casual. Too rehearsed. The way he stopped inviting me over for game nights. Said he was busy, but I could hear people laughing in the background. They thought they were being clever. Discreet. But cheaters always forget one thing. They have to remember all their lies. I just have to catch one. It was a Wednesday night when the thread finally started to pull. Tina said she was visiting her aunt in the next town over. Left around 6 p.m., gave me a kiss on the cheek, smelled like lavender and sugar. Same perfume she always wore when she wanted to make me forget things. But later that night, Liam texted me. Said he was sick. Asked if I could pick up some cold medicine and drop it off at his place. Sounded miserable. I almost didn't go. Almost. But curiosity's a dangerous motivator. So I drove. Pulled up to his place. All dark, except one upstairs light. I didn't even make it to the door before I saw it. Through the blinds, quick flicker, a shadow moving behind the curtain. Two shapes. One with her build. One with his. I stepped closer. And then the light switched off. I stood there for a full minute. Not moving. Not breathing. And I realized something. He didn't invite me over because he needed medicine. He wanted to see if I'd show up. Test how much I knew. How close I was to the truth. It wasn't about the lie anymore. It was about control. I drove away in silence. No music. No rage. Just a slow-burning clarity. They were lying. Both of them. In sync. In secret. But the more they lied, the more sloppy they got. I just had to wait for the right moment. And when it came, I would blow the whole thing wide open. There's a difference between knowing something's happening and catching it. I'd been watching them live for weeks. Tracking patterns. Matching stories. And waiting. It was a Sunday morning when it happened. Simple. Accidental. But devastating. Tina was in the kitchen, frying eggs and singing along to a playlist she always put on when she was trying to feel normal. I was sipping coffee, acting like I still believed her. Still loved her. Her phone buzzed on the counter. She glanced at it. Smiled. And tapped the screen without thinking. Except it wasn't a tap. It was a swipe. And it opened a message. She must have thought it locked automatically. But it didn't. I saw it. Clear as daylight. Liam. Last night was perfect. Still smells like you in my bed. Can't stop thinking about your hands. His poor dumb face. You sure he has no clue? She froze when she realized. Snapped her head around and saw me staring. Her face went pale. She lunged for the phone, tried to laugh it off. Oh my God, it's just a joke, he always. I didn't move. Didn't blink. Just said. Read it out loud. Silence. You could have heard the yolk crack in the pan. She tried again. Tried to twist it. He was just drunk. It didn't mean anything. It's not what it looks like. But it was exactly what it looked like. And worse. It had been going on for months. I didn't scream. Didn't throw things. Didn't break down. I stood up, walked past her, and said. I'm not mad you lied. I'm mad you thought I was too stupid to notice. I grabbed my keys. As I walked out the door, she followed, begging. It didn't mean anything. Please, let me explain. And that's when I said the words that started everything that came after. You don't have to explain. You already did. In his bed. That was the last time I saw her face. Until the day she walked down the courthouse steps. Wearing a white dress. On Liam's arm. While I was in handcuffs. But we're not there yet. Because now. Now I wasn't just betrayed. I was focused. And it was time to start digging deeper. Because something about their story didn't just hurt. It didn't add up. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I was heartbroken. But because something didn't sit right. Why lie that hard? Why drag it out for months? Why keep me around, even after things with Liam crossed the line? There had to be more. So I started pulling threads. I went back through old messages. Emails. Bank records. At first, nothing. Just normal relationship stuff, birthdays, bills, shared playlists. Then. I found something strange. A charge on my account. 2 months ago. Late at night. $3,200 wired to a name I didn't recognize. Devin Keys. I never authorized it. But it came from my account. From my device. I looked closer. The IP address matched my Wi-Fi. That night. I was at work. Tina was homesick. She had transferred money from my savings. To a stranger. Next move. I looked up Devin. Found an old Instagram. Barely active. But one post stood out. A blurry photo of a basement studio. Caption. Big thanks to Tina and Elle for making the dream real. Money bag, money bag, money bag. Tina and Elle. As in Liam. That's when the pit hit my stomach. They weren't just cheating. They were using me. For money. For resources. For something bigger. I remembered all the little requests Tina made over the months. Babe, can I borrow your laptop? Mind if I send something from your email? You trust me, right? Yes. Yes, I did. And she used every inch of that trust to build something I wasn't meant to see. Now I knew why Liam started pulling away. Why he stopped asking me to help him start his business. Because they'd already launched it. Together. With my money. I was the bank. The cover. The idiot holding the flashlight while they ran off with the gold. But they weren't done yet. Because something was still coming. Something big enough to ruin me. I didn't know what it was yet. But I was going to find out. And this time, I wouldn't just watch. I'd strike. When you're being played, you think there'll be signs. Shady glances. Whispered calls. But the worst betrayals. They wear smiles. They bring you coffee in the morning. They kiss your forehead goodnight. I thought I'd seen the worst of it. The cheating. The lies. The money. But I hadn't. That was just the prelude. It happened 2 weeks after I found the wire transfer. I was working late at the garage, covering for a buddy. Tina and I weren't talking, but she still had stuff at my place. Keys. Access. Control. I came home around midnight. Door unlocked. Inside. Quiet. Too quiet. I stepped into the kitchen and saw it. Boxes. Stacks of them. Laptops. Phones. Speakers. All still in plastic wrap. And sitting on the table. A shipping manifest with my name on it. My heart dropped. I didn't order any of it. But my address. My email. My signature. All there. I backed up. Didn't touch a thing. Called Liam. Because even then, I still thought maybe he'd help. He answered on the first ring. Dude, I said, there's something messed up going on. I think Tina. But he cut me off. Hey, I'm in the middle of something. Can I call you back? And then he hung up. 15 minutes later. Police sirens. Blue and red lights filled my apartment. I opened the door, confused, scared, trying to explain. But they weren't listening. They already had a warrant. Suspicion of receiving stolen property. Electronic fraud. Possession with intent to distribute. I was handcuffed on my own porch. Neighbors watching. One officer reading off a list of charges like it was a bedtime story. And right there, on the sidewalk, I saw her. Tina. Standing beside Liam. Arms crossed. Expression blank. Liam looked away. But Tina? Tina smiled. Like it was all going to plan. That night in holding, I didn't cry. Didn't rage. I lay on that cold bench and whispered to myself. This isn't the end. This is the beginning. Jail does something to your brain. It slows time. Magnifies memory. Turns regrets into obsessions. I wasn't placed in general population. They held me in a small cell, solitary intake while they processed the charges. 4 concrete walls. 1 narrow cot. 1 toilet. No clock. No mirror. Just me, and what they did to me. I kept repeating it in my head. I didn't do this. But the thing is, no one cares what you didn't do. They care about what they can prove. And thanks to Tina and Liam, all the evidence pointed straight at me. That's when I met Kevin, the guy in the next cell. He was in for mail fraud. Sharp eyes. Quick mouth. Knew every trick in the book. We talked through the vent. I told him my story, bits of it. And Kevin said something I'll never forget. They didn't just set you up. They turned you into their fall guy. That means they left breadcrumbs. You just have to find them before your life's all eaten. It got me thinking. When I got out on bail, thanks to a loan from my sister, I didn't go home. Didn't call them. Didn't announce my release on social media. I disappeared. Moved into a tiny room behind the garage at my old job. No rent. Just silence. And a notebook. I started writing everything down. Dates. Conversations. Bank statements. Screenshots I had from months ago. Emails. Texts. Even the time Tina asked for my fingerprint to unlock my phone for a surprise. It wasn't a surprise. It was a setup. Over the next few weeks, I pieced it together. They'd been planning it for over a year. Liam had the business license in his name. Tina had access to my bank, my devices, my ID. They used me to fund their launch, move product, launder through false invoices. And when it got risky, they staged the fall. Put it all on me. But they made a mistake. They got greedy. They left trails. And worst of all, they thought I was gone. What they didn't know was that I was watching again. Only this time, I wasn't just watching. I was planning. I spent 4 weeks in the shadows. No calls. No texts. No trace. They thought I was either locked up or broken. Perfect. Because revenge doesn't start with rage. It starts with research. First, I tracked their paper trail. Liam's business. It wasn't just built on my stolen money. It was riddled with fake accounts. Invoices that never matched real transactions. Receipts that Tina had signed in my name, from cities I'd never even been to. I compiled it all. Every document. Every timestamp. Every signature. Proof of fraud, identity theft, illegal transfers. Then I made a copy. Actually, 3. One for the cops. One for the IRS. And one, for me. But that wasn't enough. I wanted them to feel it. So I created a fake account. Used a masked number. Sent Liam a text. Hey. Heard your partner's been sloppy. Might want to check her messages. Can't trust anyone these days. I knew he'd panic. Because their partnership was built on lies, and mutual leverage. Sure enough, the next day, Tina's social media disappeared. So did the company page. Their website went down. I watched it all from the garage, sipping coffee, smiling. The cracks had begun. Then, I visited Kevin, the guy from jail. He connected me with a reporter. Someone who loved stories about wrongfully accused entrepreneurs. I gave her everything, the whole story, minus the names. She published it anonymously. He went to jail for a crime his girlfriend framed him for. Now he's turning the tables. It blew up. Within 48 hours, the police reopened my case. Within a week, Liam's business was under review by a federal investigator. And Tina? She made the mistake of calling me. Tried to cry. Tried to say she didn't know Liam was using me. Tried to say she loved me the whole time. I listened. Paused. Then said, I loved you, too. That's why this hurts enough to make it worth destroying you. Then I hung up. They thought I was gone. That I'd vanished into some cell, forgotten. But I was never gone. I was just getting dangerous. It happened on a Thursday. Gray skies. Soft rain. The kind of weather that makes people think about consequences. I was sitting in my old beat-up truck outside the courthouse. Watching. Liam stepped out first. Slick suit. Fake confidence. He still thought he could talk his way out of everything. Tina followed. Same walk. Same face. But she looked tired. Like secrets had weight. Like lies had a shelf life. They were being summoned. Fraud. Conspiracy. Obstruction. Identity theft. All stacked like dominoes, and I pushed the first one. I had already cleared my name. Public apology from the DA's office. My record. Clean again. The charges. Dismissed. But I wasn't there for justice. I was there for closure. They spotted me as they walked past the steps. Liam froze. Tina's mouth parted, like she wanted to say something. I just smiled. Tipped my head slightly. That was all. Weeks later, the fallout exploded. Liam's company dissolved. The feds took everything, accounts frozen, assets seized. He tried to pin it all on Tina. She tried to flip it back on him. But their stories didn't line up. Because liars don't rehearse for betrayal. She was arrested first. Tax fraud. Forgery. Bail denied. He went next. Wire fraud. Intent to defraud under a false business entity. Court date pending. Me. I started over. Moved cities. Changed jobs. Started rebuilding what they tried to take from me. But I kept one thing. A photograph. From the day I was arrested. Me in cuffs. Them in wedding clothes. Side by side. Smiling. I keep it in a drawer. Not out of anger anymore. Not out of bitterness. But as a reminder. Trust is earned. Loyalty is rare. And revenge. Revenge is best served after you heal.